13th January 1937. Talk 326. In answer to question by a long resident attendant, Sri Bhagwan said, "Everybody complains of the restlessness of the mind. Let the mind be found, and then they will know. True. When a man sits down to meditate, thoughts rush up by dozens. The mind is only a bundle of thoughts. The attempt to push through the barrage of thoughts is unsuccessful. If one can by any means abide in the self, it is good. For those who are unable to do so, chanting or meditation, japa or dhyan is prescribed. It is like giving a piece of chain to an elephant to hold in its trunk. The trunk of the elephant is usually restless. It puts it out in all directions when takes out in the streets of the town. If gives a chain to carry, the restlessness is checked. Similarly, with the restless mind, if made to engage in japa or dhyan, other thoughts are warded off, and the mind concentrates on a single thought. It thus becomes peaceful. It doesn't mean that peace is gained without a prolonged struggle. The other thoughts must be fought out. Here is another illustration. Suppose a cow plays rouge and strays into neighbor's field to graze. She is not easily weaned from her stealthy habit. Think how she can be kept in the stall. If forcibly tethered in the stall, she simply bides her time to play the raw. If she is tempted with fine grass in the stall, she takes one mouthful on the first day and again waits for the opportunity to run away. The next day she takes two mouthfuls, so she takes more and more on each succeeding day, until finally she is weaned from her wicked tendencies. And entirely free from bad habits, she might be safely left free, and she would not stray into neighbor's pasture land. Even when beaten in the stall, she doesn't afterwards leave the place. Similarly, with the mind, it is accustomed to stray outward by the force of the latent vasanas manifesting as thoughts. So long as there are vasanas contained within, they must come out and exhaust themselves. The thoughts comprise the mind. Searching what the mind is, the thoughts will recoil and the seeker will know that they arise from the self. It is the aggregate of these thoughts that we call mind. If one realizes that the thoughts arise from the self and abide in their source, the mind will disappear. After the mind ceases to exist and bliss of peace has been realized, one will find it then as difficult to bring out a thought as he now finds it difficult to keep out all thoughts. Here the mind is the cow playing the raw. The thoughts are the neighbor's pasture. One's own primal being, free from thoughts, is the stall. The bliss of peace is too good to be disturbed. A man fast asleep hates to be awakened and ordered to mind his business. The bliss of sleep is too enthralling to be sacrificed to the work born of thoughts. The thought free state is one's primal state and full of bliss. Is it not miserable to leave such a state for the thought ridden and unhappy one? If one wants to abide in the thought free state, a struggle is inevitable. One must fight one's way through before regaining one's original primal state. If one succeeds in the fight and reaches the goal, the enemy, namely the thoughts, will all subside in the self and disappear entirely. The thoughts are the enemy. They amount to the creation of the universe. In their absence, there is neither the world nor God, the Creator. The bliss of the self is the single being only. When Prahlada was in Samadhi, Vishnu thought within himself, "This Asura being in Samadhi, all the Asuras are in peace. There is no fight, no trial of strength, no search for power, nor the means for gaining power. In the absence of such means for power, yaga, yajna, etc., that is, the gods are not thriving. There is no new creation, nor even is any existence justified. So I will wake him up, then the Asuras will rise up. Their original nature will manifest itself. The gods will challenge them, the Asuras and others will then seek strength and adopt the means for its acquisition. Yagnas, etc., will flourish, the gods will thrive. There will be more and more of creation, more of fight, and I shall have enough to do." So Vishnu awakened Prahlad, blessing him with eternal life and Jivan Mukti. Deva Ashura, fight was resumed and the old order of things was resorted. so that the universe continues in its eternal nature. Devotee. How could God himself wake up the Asura element and bring about constant warfare? Is not pure godness the nature of God? Maharishi. Goodness is only relative. Good always implies bad also. They always coexist. The one is the observer of the other.